Hi, greetings everybody. My travels has now brought me to this riverside town called Kuching, and I'm going to explore the town. Let's see what it has to offer, so stay tuned. So my first visit is going to be Fort Margarita, which is across the Kuching River. The easiest way to do it is by taking this boat to cross the river to Kampung Boyan. So I'm excited. Let's see. Yep. So I've disembarked from across the river and making my way. This is Kampung Boyan. There's a lot of cake houses here. Kuching is known for their cake lapis, you know. So let's see. So from the little boat jetty, I actually literally have come into this kampung area, and you see the signage says left turn to Fort Margarita, and there we are. This is really nice, you know, exploring the town on foot. See that? So just follow the sign. Yeah, it says you have to go up this steep hill 400 meters up. So as I climb the stairs up, there's some unique houses here. Nice, beautiful structures. Hi. There you go. Very interesting. See these houses they built just up the hill. Just built like that. Very rarely you see residential houses built like this. Yep. So I've come to the top of the hill and I come across this building. This is the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly building. It's a very imposing structure, and yeah, I got to walk further down another 150 meters to the fort. So there it is. That's Fort Margarita. It was built in 1879 by the second White Raja, Charles Brooke, and it was named after his wife Rani Margaret. That's the name, Margarita. So I'm going to continue and see what's the fort got to offer. So over here in the museum we have this book known as the Eastern Seas, published in 1837 by George Windsor Earl, who was a navigator with the British East India Company. And this book later inspired James Brooke to explore Sarawak on his own. So the fort per se is a museum now, and as you can see, it's well preserved. The fort was built high up in this hill to repel pirate attacks from the Kuching River. That's the Astana behind, and that's the fort from the from this area here. So here I am on top of the watchtower, and you can see that from this watchtower you can basically have a good view of the Sarawak River. It's quite a magnificent view. So yep, Fort Margarita done, visited. Very interesting place. Must come, you know, if you are visiting Kuching. It's a must come place. And yeah, so I'm now heading back to the boat jetty to cross the river and probably try the famous mee kolok of Sarawak. Okay, my boat is here, and yeah, time to cross the river. Stay tuned. So I'm at this site here, this building. It's now the Chinese History Museum. It was built in 1912. This was the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. So let's go in and see what it's got to offer. So that's the original picture of the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. It was built by Charles Brooke, the second Raja. As the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, it talks about the major waves of immigrants, Chinese immigrants to this part of Sarawak. So this chart shows the major waves of my immigrants. The first wave were Chinese miners from Kalimantan, and these Chinese miners were from the Admiral Chang Ho era from the 15th century. The second wave of migration were Chinese from the mainland. Basically they were the Hokkien, Teochew and the Cantonese people. And then the third wave were labourers from different parts of China to help exploit rather the rubber industry. And this board here dedicates to different communities in Kuching or Sarawak. The Hakka people, Cantonese, Hokkien, Teochew, the Chao An people, the Hang Hua people, the Hainanese, the Fu Chao, and of course the other dialects. Some beautiful Chinese pottery. Some dating back to a few hundred years ago. Yep, and out we come from the museum. It's free, and it's interesting, very interesting, lots of insight. So yeah, let's press on to the next destination. So I've been walking along Kuching River. That's Fort Margarita there, and that's the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly building. And right over there you can see that's the Astana, which was the official residence of the White Rajas of Sarawak back then. And you'll see a suspension bridge, a pedestrian bridge, okay, that's linking from one side of the river to another, built in 2019. The new bridge, the original one was built some time ago in the 1920s, but that collapsed, so they built a new one. It's a very interesting log bridge, and this building here seems to be a very old building as well. It's now converted into the Sarawak Craft Council, but what I understand was it was probably called the Sarawak Steamship Building. Now walking away from there, I see an interesting structure. This is called the Clock Tower of Kuching. Also originally built in 1879. It was originally at first housed as a prison, and then later converted into a fort. I thought it would be a museum, but to my surprise I'm told it's actually a restaurant. So there we are. As you can see, it's written 1879. The restaurant is closed. I'm told it's open 5 PM onwards. Well, I might want to drop by later for dinner, I don't know, but let's see. I'm pressing on to find my mee kolok lunch. So I walk away from the clock tower, across the road I come across this building here, and built in 1883. this, wait, hang on. Oh yeah, this is Charles Brooke, second Raja of Sarawak. And this building, I'm told, is actually the old courthouse of Sarawak, Kuching. See, still well preserved. And I think they have a couple of bars and some restaurants here. Reminds me a little bit of Chimes in Singapore. So here I am walking away from the courthouse, Jalan Gambir, and here we are, the legendary Mi Kolok. So just regular coffee shop. I'm going to try it out. There we are. They also have soup tulang. I'm going to try the Mi Kolok. And let's see how it tastes. So there it is. Terima kasih. The Sarawak Mi Kolok. I'm going to try it out and let's see how it tastes. Haha. Seriously, that Mi Kolok was really awesome. Anyone who comes to Kuching, this Mi Kolok is a must try. Okay? So well, anyway, I'm going to press on with my jalan-jalan, so stay tuned. So this is just after the makan. I'm pressing on, this is Jalan Gambe. So I'm told a lot of traders here, dried fish, spices. You can see dried fish here, anchovies, all sorts of anchovies, and squids, right? I'm told this area has got a lot of Indian spice traders. And these spice traders, they've been here for generations. The Indian Muslim community came around Kuching and settled down here, dealing with spice. And you have their descendants now carry on the spice trade. All kinds of spices. More spices. This street, Gambir Street, also happens to be the home of the old Masjid Bandar Kuching, also known as Masjid India, built in 1834, long time ago. So this Masjid India today is no longer in use, but the building and its surrounding annexed buildings are all still intact. You can see it's not used. This Masjid India is now rebuilt directly opposite into that mosque. That green mosque is now the new Masjid India. Walking, I came across this spice shop, and beside this spice shop there's a small little lane. Barely 5 feet wide beside the temple perimeter, and this happens to leads me to the other end of the street here. This is part of the mosque. Hi. And this alley leads me to what they call Indian Mosque Lane. So this is India Street. It's covered and it's full of textiles. A lot of people doing business here, mostly descendants of Indian Muslim traders who migrated to Kuching, and their businesses continue. some Indian Muslim restaurants here as well. That's the mosque lane we passed earlier. And some of these structures are really interesting, you know. I think they've been here very long time. Now look at this building here, this family structure. It's called Nazanir Textiles and it's got a very interesting architecture. Hi. Lots of textiles here. India Street. Very interesting. Off India Street, I'm trying to make a left turn to this small lane, another small lane. It's called Lorong Kaiju. Yeah, I think it's a Sunday, that's why most of the shops are closed. We have Tongki. I think it's like a puff shop. Some coffee shops on the left and right. There you go. Chon biscuit maker, Chinese biscuits. I come across an old school coffee shop. This is really old school. One just right opposite, another old school coffee shop. So I made a 360, got back into India Street, and as I exit India Street, come across the courthouse once again. There you go. So I'm making an entry into the courthouse. Yep, there's a museum here as well, dedicated to the Brooke Trust Fund, and this museum is called Rani Margaret of Sarawak. It's about the second Rani of Sarawak, right? So I think I'll skip this. Just want to look around the courthouse. There you go. That's the courthouse. It's got a eccentric feel to it. This is a restaurant. Yeah, a lot of restaurants here, and at the end of it there's also a bar as well. So yeah, nice place to hang out. Interesting. So right next to the old courthouse there's another building, heritage site as well here in Kuching. It's called the Round Tower. Today it serves as a restaurant, but back in the day it was it served as a dispensary from 1886 right up to like 1947. So right in front of the Round Tower is Carpenter Street. Okay, a bustling street with a lot of Chinese heritage. So let's take a look. So you can see goldsmiths, jewelry shops, pawn shop, another goldsmith on the right. We have a watch dealer, we have a kedai ubat. Because it's a Sunday, most of the shops are closed. and seem to have this eatery open here. We have a Chinese temple. Wow, very elaborate Chinese temple. This is called, it's called the Tian Xiang Tea Temple, built in 1863 in its present location. What's so interesting about this temple is that on the opposite side of the temple is a eatery, and the eatery sells Chinese food, and there's a opera stage in front there. Let's continue walking. Also known as Carpenter Street. A lot of carpenters used to ply their trades here. And if you look at the buildings, it may remind you of the buildings in Singapore, especially Telok Ayer Street, Arab Street. You know, the reason why it has this striking resemblance is because the blueprint to all the shop houses were actually from Singapore. It was all built before the Second World War. It's pre-World War shop houses, and that's why it has this striking resemblance to the shop houses in Singapore. And here we have the Kuching Hainan Association. Nostalgic. I feel like like maybe Chinatown. I don't know. Chinatown, Singapore. Yeah. So yeah, some of these shops are still deal with carpentry. And look at this Universal Electrical Company, Sunjan Bharat. Must be a very old company. The Kain Community Association. And look at this building here, built in 1937, 2 years before my father was born. This lane here is called Jalan Bishopgate, facing the Sarawak State Assembly building. Another carpenter shop, Yong Sing carpenter shop. Another one here, carpenters as well. Yep, and out of nowhere we have what seems like a high-end kind of a bar here. It's called the Royal Chamber. So I come at the end of this lane, Carpenter Street, and I come across another Chinese temple. Here we go, Hong San Si Temple. Believe that the Hokkien community built this temple here. So that well, anyway, I'm going to try and visit the Sarawak Museum. I'm told it's just been restored, so I'm going to take a look at Sarawak Museum and see what we can find there. So let's go, let's see. So I came up here to the Sarawak Museum, which was built in the time of the second Raja, Charles Brooke. It has just been restored, and I'm told they are not open for walk-ins, only for private tours. The one opposite, that is the Borneo Cultural Museum. It is a must-visit place, but the entrance fee is pretty steep at 50 ringgit for foreigners. I think I'll take a pass this time, perhaps next time around. And the one opposite now, the one I'm walking towards, that is called the Natural History Museum. I think I'm going to pass that as well. But all these buildings were built during the time of the second Raja of Sarawak, Charles Group. Original structure, and it's restored. The one in front right now with the arches, that's the Borneo Cultural Museum. Perhaps the next time I'm here, I'll visit the museum. Yeah, that concludes my walkabout in Kuching this afternoon. I'm heading back to the hotel. I think I would have walked probably 10-12 kilometers today. So I'm gonna rest my feet, perhaps take a nap, a shower, until I meet you guys again on my next adventure. Stay tuned, take care, stay safe. Bye.